I don't like this tendency that now we have so many gangster channels on YouTube that have a big following, a cult following even, or well, more than that anyway. Yeah, yeah, but it has become a cult, cult-like thing to follow former gangsters. I mean, you know what I don't buy? I don't buy that they have really changed like radically. All of them. Some of them, yes, but not all of them. And we have a saying from where I come from: a wolf changes his fur, but never his his nature. Yeah. So bear that in mind. You know who I blame most for this sudden and unstoppable rise of gangster YouTubers. Vlad, Vlad from Vlad TV. He's the first guy to start inviting not just these rappers and gang bangers, but also wise guys. Also, yeah. And then it just went wow, exploded because suddenly everybody wants to hear their stories. And while many of them are legit, the people like Sammy the Bull, for instance, or these guys, Larry Maza, and whatever. And what was his name? Oh yeah, the guy who I think right now may be in jail or will be, Keefe Lee. Yeah, all these guys are legit. They were really gangsters and they were dangerous. They were powerful. They had influence and however, this has then led to other very shadowy figures who are much less uh, recognized and much less legit. And now they have also their own channels where they claim they have worked with everybody from, from, you know, John Gotti to Al Capone. I mean, come on. And I think you know who I'm talking about. One of these guys, maybe the most famous, is called John A. Light. Yeah, anyway, yeah. So, Michael Francis has said that he doesn't know this guy. Sammy the Bull has said that he kind of knew him, but he wasn't really a part of the mafia, really, in the real sense. He, of course, not being an Italian at all, would also make him not be eligible to be a made member or made guy. He could only be an associate. So, yeah, now you have all these tough guys who claim to have been something really like tough and dangerous. And now everybody is just, going crazy over that. So that means we have a thug mentality which has really become scary popular. Thug mentality has become really big in this time. Thug and gang member and wise guy mentality. Yes, so it is then no wonder that there is so much violence. I mean, even more violence these days. Yeah, of course. There's a lot of violence and shootings and in the schools and everywhere, among the youth. Because why? Because they watch these channels. They watch a guy say how he killed, so and so many people, and how he stabbed somebody, and or shot somebody, then cut him up in little pieces and whatever, disposed of that body. And when kids, like teenagers, also watch this, it kind of makes them, it creates some kind of effect, like they start to gain admiration from somebody who is so tough and so ruthless that he can do all this. So, but they know themselves they could never do this. Like most of them could never. But they try to compensate, I guess, for it by going out and stabbing somebody, while shooting somebody even. And yeah, it's just a terrible world, and it is obvious that these gangster channels have contributed to the rise of teenage violence, especially, but also violence in general. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, while I do enjoy like watching maybe some of Sammy the Bull's videos, because he has a lot to tell. He has been through a lot, has some interesting stories to tell. I mean, many of these other so-called wise guy or whatever ex-criminal channels are all about people sitting there very often with somebody else, and the other guy is kind of interviewing them, and really kind of showing his admiration for how tough they were, and just telling pirate stories, to put it that way, just telling, talking absolute BS, and but it's always, that rhetoric. Oh yeah, but that was me, way back, in time. I'm not like that anymore. I changed. So now we are supposed also to show admiration for the fact that they were able to change after being in that business for like 20 or so years, or at least. I mean, most of them don't walk away from their life having been. I mean, if they hadn't been there for at least 20 or so years, or even 30, I don't know. So it's why first, but people think why do they give up that life? Because sooner or later they all have to go to jail, right? Right. Nobody can avoid that for forever. And sometimes they get out and then they get in again after a few years. So the gangster life is very, I mean, I like the fact that Michael Francis, he does a good thing. He says to everybody, kids, stay at school, don't ever be gangsters. That's not a good life. It may seem really great with all the money and all the power and women and whatever, but it's only for a while. Sooner or later, you're going to end up in jail or dead, or in witness protection, and that neither is a very good alternative to for anybody. So yeah, these guys eventually all kind of mostly testify and get less jail time, or they don't testify, but that's kind of rare, and stay in jail forever, or whatever, die in jail, or grow old in jail. So all these people that you watch on YouTube or wherever it is, that are telling you how now many of them are also now has turned religious, and when it comes to Michael Francis, I do believe. I mean, he doesn't look like he ever was a hardcore gangster. He was more into the business side of that life. So I do believe that he, really found his, he's God and everything. And but there are many people who just say that for the sake of sounding, respectable. Like, oh yeah, I found God. I'm happy. I have another wife and children and grandchildren, whatever. And everybody's, oh yeah, that's so great. But at the same time, they don't want to give up that part. They don't want to say, yeah, I mean, I don't want to talk about my days when I was a gangster. They want to talk about it because that's what makes them feel special and tough and everything. They get admiration from silly young men who are very impressionable and dumb, and yeah, that's the thing, the catch. I mean, I know if I had been a gangster, but maybe I got into it because somebody kind of you know dragged me into it, or I was just stupid and young and naive, then I saw this. It's really bad. It's evil, right? And I have to do evil things, and then I got out of it. If that all happened to me, I for sure hell would never talk about what I did. I would be ashamed to talk about my bad deeds. However, these people, they talk about it, and they talk about it in detail very often, really. So does that sound like they are ashamed of what they did? Does that sound like they really have changed, really, as people, as humans? No, I don't think so. Not to me, anyway. So, don't be so dumb and impressionable that you think, oh, yeah, I like, he's changed now, and that's great. But I also like that he was so tough and wasn't afraid to you know duke it out, or shoot it out and whatever. Yeah, this is not a movie, people. Life is not a movie. I mean, yeah, sure. If something like, for instance, if somebody attacked me and my family, and of course, if I had a gun, I would shoot them. I would defend myself. But this was something else. What these people did, nobody attacked them. They were the perpetrators. They were the ones who did evil, bad stuff, bad deeds to others, either racketeering or robbing, or beating up, shaking down people, even, and then killing them also. And yeah, so this is a really totally like upside down. Everything is upside down. Like as somebody said in a TV show that I watched, I believe that was Dexter. Now the perps are good guys and policemen are bad guys. So all this. I will add something else here. On this is related kind of. Like when we know what happened, like in 2020 with these protests, when people were screaming, "Defund the police." I mean, that's the most idiotic thing I ever heard. So I believe if you were attacked by somebody, anybody, doesn't have to be an organized crime, but somebody, some kind of crazed or violent individual, and he had a gun, you won't want you want the police to save you, right? And what will policemen do if he doesn't have all the funds that he needs? He cannot protect you well enough, right? So think about it, people. If they have to take on a whole gang, armed with like the newest kind of machine guns, whatever, Uzis, and they only have a gun, pistol. That's all. They cannot win, can they? So this is really just stupid. I mean, so to get back to the original topic. Yeah, I don't like this tendency. Like a, a guy, you know, starts doing his videos and live streams and stuff and talks about how changed he is, but he's still like, looking like a tough guy, and posing, and I really I resent such people, really. Like, you can see they haven't really changed at all. It's just bullshit. It's just something they want to sell you, so they look respectable and you can follow them, and give them money, even through super chats. And yeah, and all these super chats, come on. I mean, what's this about, really? You're giving money to somebody who already has enough money, who has seen more money than you ever will in your life. But he got too greedy, perhaps, so he got caught. He couldn't keep all that money. Yeah, I mean, just think about it. All right, this is not a good trend at all. This is not a good trend. Not at all. Not a good mentality now that you are shaping for yourself and for your children. Why should your children have to watch this also? Tomorrow they will. Today they see some wise guy or ex-wise guy who everybody in the chat is applauding to, and expressing their admiration for him. And tomorrow your child grows up and wants to be just like him, and thinks he's got to do first something criminal to get there, to become like him, because he did it. So that's how they will think, right? That's the reasoning. Oh, it's to look so good, to have so many fans. First, I gotta rob a store or something, or shoot somebody. Yeah, man, it's no good. All right, no good.